You know what's wild? People will drop $70 on the latest AAA game without blinking, sit through a 6-hour tutorial, wade through 50 hours of filler content, and then wonder why they're burnt out. Meanwhile, there's this entire universe of indie games made by small teams with actual vision that cost a fraction of the price and deliver more creativity, more heart, and more fun than half the big budget stuff clogging up your feed. So I did something ridiculous. I went through my entire indie library, played everything people swore was worth it, and separated the genuine masterpieces from the overhyped garbage that reviewers won't shut up about. And here's the thing. Most of these games cost less than a single AAA title, but they've stuck with me longer than anything with a $100 million marketing campaign. This is the list. 19 indie games on PS5 that are absolutely worth your money. No bloat, no filler, just pure, concentrated game design from studios that actually respect your time. Let's go. Stray is a game where you play as a cat in a dystopian cyberpunk city, and somehow that premise alone carries the entire experience. You're navigating this abandoned world populated by robots who've long outlived their human creators, and the environmental storytelling is incredible. The neon-soaked streets, decaying apartments, and vertical slums all tell a story without a single line of human dialogue. The cat physics are perfect. You're knocking things off shelves, scratching furniture, curling up in cozy spots, and meowing at NPCs who react with genuine warmth. It's not just cute, it's immersive in a way that feels completely unique. The Zerk chase sequences add genuine tension too. You're sprinting through dark tunnels with parasitic creatures swarming behind you, and it's legitimately nerve-wracking. It's short, maybe 4 to 5 hours, but every moment feels intentional. The atmosphere is melancholic and beautiful, the soundtrack is hauntingly ambient, and the ending hits harder than you'd expect from a game about a cat. For a debut from a smaller studio, this is a complete, polished experience that knows exactly what it wants to be, worth every penny. Sifu is brutal, stylish, and demands mastery. You're on a revenge quest through 5 levels, and every time you die, you age. Die too many times, and it's permanent game over. The aging mechanic creates real tension. Every encounter matters, and you can't just brute force your way through. You adapt, learn, and improve, or you fail. The combat is some of the best hand-to-hand action ever. It's all about reading enemy animations, parrying at the right moment, and knowing when to dodge versus when to counter. The club level is legendary. One continuous sequence through a nightclub, no cuts, just you fighting through waves of enemies while the music pulses. It's pure martial arts cinema translated into gameplay. The boss fights are intense. Each one has distinct patterns, phases, and requires precision. The museum boss, the tower boss, they all demand that you've mastered the mechanics. By the time you beat the game, you've earned it through sheer skill improvement. The replay value is high too, because you're always chasing better runs and younger completion ages. For the price, it's a masterclass in skill-based combat. Sea of Stars is a modern JRPG that nails the classic formula while adding quality of life improvements that make it feel fresh. You're 2 solstice warriors on a quest to stop an alchemist from summoning world-ending monsters, and the story hits all the right beats. Friendship, sacrifice, world-threatening stakes without feeling derivative. The turn-based combat is engaging because of the timed hit system. You're pressing buttons at the right moment to boost damage or reduce incoming attacks, so even random encounters stay engaging. Boss fights require strategy, breaking locks, timing attacks, managing MP, and the difficulty is balanced perfectly. It's challenging without being frustrating. The art is gorgeous. Pixel art environments with dynamic lighting, expressive character sprites, and a soundtrack by Yasunori Mitsuda that's absolutely phenomenal. The pacing is tight too. No filler dungeons, no bloated fight content, just a focused 25-30 hour adventure that respects your time. For fans of classic JRPGs like Chrono Trigger, this is essential. It's everything you loved about those games with modern conveniences. The Pathless is all about movement and flow. You're a hunter with a bow navigating a cursed island, and the traversal system is genius. You're shooting targets mid-sprint to build momentum, gliding with your eagle companion, and covering massive distances without ever feeling slowed down. The movement alone is so satisfying that exploration never feels like a chore. The boss fights are puzzle-heavy and atmospheric. You're navigating arenas, avoiding attacks, and solving environmental mechanics to expose weak points. The fights aren't about raw combat skill, they're about observation and execution. The art direction is minimalist and beautiful, with wide-open environments that prioritize atmosphere over clutter. The story is subtle and emotional. It's about breaking curses, healing the land, and the bond between you and your eagle. The soundtrack by Austin Wintory is incredible, sweeping orchestral pieces that match the game's epic scope. It's not the longest game, maybe 10 hours, but the experience is focused and never drags. For the price, it's a beautiful, meditative adventure that respects your time. Hyper Light Drifter is stylish, atmospheric, and deliberately cryptic. You're a lone drifter exploring a dying world, and the game tells its story entirely through visuals and environmental storytelling. No dialogue, no text dumps, just gorgeous pixel art and a hauntingly beautiful soundtrack by Disasterpiece that sets the tone perfectly. The combat is fast and precise. You're dashing through enemy attacks, chaining sword combos, and using guns as secondary weapons with limited ammo. Boss fights are intense and pattern-heavy. One mistake and you're punished hard. The difficulty is Souls-like without being outright unfair, and every encounter demands focus. The world is interconnected and filled with secrets, hidden rooms, optional bosses, upgrades tucked away in hard-to-reach places. The game rewards curiosity. The art direction is stunning, with vibrant colors contrasting against decaying ruins, and the whole thing has this melancholic, post-apocalyptic vibe. It's not long, maybe 8 to 10 hours, but the experience is memorable. For the price, it's a complete package that respects your intelligence and doesn't hold your hand. Reign of Risk 2 is chaotic co-op at its finest. You're looting, shooting, and surviving as long as possible while the difficulty scales the longer you're alive. Every run starts manageable, and within 20 minutes, you're being swarmed by elite enemies, dodging one-shot attacks, and barely holding on. It's stressful in the best way. The item system is genius. You're stacking random items that synergize in ridiculous ways. Get enough crit chance and on-hit effects, and you're deleting bosses in seconds. Stack mobility items, and you're flying across the map. The character roster is diverse too. Huntress focuses on agility. Engineer sets up turrets. Mercenary is all melee combos. Every character changes how you approach runs. The co-op makes it even better. You're coordinating, reviving teammates, and sharing loot while the screen fills with projectiles and explosions. Runs can last anywhere from 20 minutes to 2 hours depending on how greedy you get, and every death feels fair because you push too far. The replay value is insane, and for the price, you're getting hundreds of hours of content. Blasphemous 2 takes everything the first game did and refines it into something legitimately great. You're the penitent one, back for more punishment in a dark, gothic world soaked in religious imagery and body horror. The art style's stunning, every frame looks like a disturbing painting, and the enemy designs are grotesque in the best way. The combat is tighter this time. You've got 3 weapon types that completely change your playstyle. One's fast and aggressive, another's heavy and defensive, the third is all about range and timing. Parrying feels amazing, and boss fights are brutal but fair. The Archcathedral Rooftops boss is a standout. Massive scale, multiple phases, and attacks that demand perfect execution. The world design is interconnected and rewards exploration. Shortcuts unlock naturally, secrets are hidden everywhere, and the map is dense with content. The difficulty is challenging but never feels cheap, and the game gives you tools to handle it. The lore is cryptic and fascinating if you're into that, and the whole experience is just dripping with atmosphere. If you like the first game, this is everything you wanted improved. Dave the Diver is the most pleasant surprise on this list. You're diving during the day to catch fish, then running a sushi restaurant at night. It sounds simple, but the loop is so satisfying that hours disappear. The diving is chill exploration mixed with light combat. You're spearing fish, avoiding predators, and discovering underwater caves filled with treasures and secrets. The restaurant management adds just enough strategy without being stressful. You're hiring staff, upgrading equipment, creating new menu items, and serving customers in real time. The game keeps introducing new mechanics, underwater photography, farming, boss fights, story quests, so it never feels stale. The pixel art is gorgeous, the humor is lighthearted, and the whole vibe is just cozy. The story is genuinely engaging too. There's an overarching mystery involving ancient civilizations, sea people, and corporate intrigue that keeps you invested. The game is constantly rewarding you with new content, and the progression feels meaningful. For the price, you're getting a game that respects your time, stays fresh, and never feels grindy. It's pure comfort gaming. Alright, quick pause. If you're vibing with this list so far, do me a solid. Hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Also, drop a comment and let me know which game on this list you've already played or which one you're picking up next. I actually read those and I'm always curious what you all are into. Alright, back to it. Slay the Spire is deck building perfection. You're climbing a spire, fighting enemies with cards, and building your deck as you go. Every run is different because you're constantly choosing between cards, relics, and upgrades that completely change your strategy. One run, you're stacking poison damage. The next, you're building around zero-cost cards and card draw. The depth is absurd. Each character has unique mechanics. Ironclad is straightforward aggro. Silent focuses on poison and card manipulation. Defect is all about orbs and energy management. And Watcher rewards perfect execution. The synergies are endless, and discovering a combo that breaks the game is always satisfying. Then you unlock higher Ascension levels, which add modifiers that make everything harder. The game respects your time too. Runs are maybe 30 to 60 minutes, so you're not committing hours to a single attempt. The card art is clean, the UI is intuitive, and the whole thing just works. You'll beat it once, think you're done, and then immediately start another run because you want to try a different build. It's dangerously addictive, and for the price, it's an absolute steal. Inside is a cinematic platformer from the team behind Limbo, and it's one of the most atmospheric games I've ever played. You're a boy running through this dystopian world filled with mind control, experimentation, and disturbing imagery. There's no dialogue, no UI, just you moving right and solving environmental puzzles while the world tells its story visually. The puzzles are clever without being frustrating. You're manipulating the environment, timing sequences, and using mind-controlled drones to navigate obstacles. The pacing is perfect. Every puzzle feels purposeful, and the game never overstays its welcome. It's short, maybe 3 hours, but every minute is deliberate and tightly crafted. The ending is one of those things you'll think about for days. It's weird, unsettling, and open to interpretation. The sound design is incredible too. Every footstep, every environmental noise adds to the tension. The art direction is dark and oppressive, and the whole experience feels like a playable art film. It's not for everyone, but if you appreciate games as art, this is essential. Tunic is a love letter to old-school Zelda games, wrapped in a mystery you solve by piecing together an in-game instruction manual. You're a little fox exploring ruins, fighting enemies, and uncovering secrets, but the game doesn't explain anything. The manual is scattered across the world in pages, and as you collect them, you start understanding the mechanics, the lore, and the deeper layers hidden beneath the surface. The combat is Souls-like in difficulty. You're managing stamina, learning enemy patterns, and bosses hit hard. The air boss fight is a brutal skill check early on, and it only gets tougher. But the real genius is in the secrets. There are puzzles hidden in plain sight, paths you'd never find without paying attention, and the game rewards exploration in ways that feel genuinely magical. The art style is beautiful, isometric, colorful, and packed with detail. The soundtrack shifts between serene exploration themes and intense combat tracks. It's not a long game, maybe 10 hours for the main story, but if you're a completionist, you'll spend way more time uncovering everything. For the price, it's a tightly designed adventure that feels like discovering a lost classic. Disco Elysium is the most text-heavy game on this list, and it's also one of the best written pieces of media I've experienced, period. You're a detective with total amnesia investigating a murder in a dying city, but the real story is about ideology, failure, and what it means to be broken. The dialogue system is insane. Your skills talk to you, argue with each other, and influence how you interact with the world. The game has no traditional combat. Everything is resolved through dialogue, skill checks, and choices that genuinely matter. You can be a fascist, a communist, a centrist, or just completely unhinged, and the game reacts to all of it. The voice acting in the final cut is incredible. Every major character is fully voiced, and the performances elevate the already phenomenal writing. The mystery itself is compelling, but the real draw is the characters and world building. Conversations with Kim, your partner, are some of the most memorable interactions in gaming. The city of Revachol feels lived in and real, and the political commentary is sharp without being preachy. It's slow, it's dense, but if you're willing to engage with it, this is one of the smartest games ever made. Absolutely worth full price. Cuphead is brutal, gorgeous, and completely unapologetic about its difficulty. You're Cuphead and Mugman fighting through run-and-gun levels and insane boss fights to repay a debt to the devil, and the entire game looks like a 1930s cartoon. Hand-drawn animation, jazz soundtracks, film grain, it's a visual and audio masterpiece that also happens to kick your ass relentlessly. The boss fights are the main attraction. Every boss has multiple phases, unique attack patterns, and requires you to memorize, adapt, and execute perfectly. Grim Matchstick with his flame attacks, Dr. Call's robot with its screen-filling chaos, King Dice with his gauntlet of mini-bosses, each one is a test of skill and patience. When you finally beat a boss you've been stuck on for an hour, it feels like a legitimate accomplishment. The running gun levels are equally tough. You're dodging projectiles, timing jumps, and trying to reach the end without dying, which is easier said than done. The game is hard, but it's fair. Every death is your fault, not the game's. The co-op makes it slightly more manageable and infinitely more chaotic. For the price, you're getting a game that looks unlike anything else and respects you enough to not hold your hand. Outer Wilds is one of those games you can only experience once, and I'm jealous of anyone playing it for the first time. You're an alien astronaut exploring a solar system stuck in a 22-minute time loop, and the whole game is about discovery. No combat, no leveling, just pure exploration and piecing together a mystery that spans multiple planets and cultures. The planets themselves are incredible. Brittle Hollow is slowly collapsing into a black hole. Giant's Deep has tornadoes that launch you into orbit, and the Ash Twin system shifts sand between two planets in real time. Every location has secrets, and the game never tells you where to go. You're following clues, making connections, and the aha moments hit like nothing else. The ending is... I can't spoil it, but it's one of the most emotionally satisfying conclusions I've experienced in gaming. The soundtrack by Andrew Prallo is hauntingly beautiful, and the whole experience feels like a space exploration game designed by people who genuinely love the genre. It's not long, maybe 15-20 hours, but it's unforgettable. This is art. Stardew Valley is the game you boot up for just one more day, and suddenly it's 3 a.m. and you've played through an entire season. You're managing a farm, growing crops, raising animals, and slowly restoring this rundown property into something actually impressive. But it's not just farming. You're exploring caves, fighting monsters, fishing, cooking, romancing villagers, and then covering secrets scattered throughout the valley. The loop is addictive because there's always something to do. Need money? Plant more crops. Want better tools? Mine for ore. Trying to complete the community center? Track down specific items across different seasons. The game respects different playstyles. You can min-max for profit, focus on relationships, or just vibe and decorate your farm however you want. The amount of content is absurd for a game made by one person. There are entire quest lines, seasonal events, hidden areas, and the recent updates keep adding more. The soundtrack is cozy and relaxing, and the whole vibe is just comforting. It's the game you play when everything else feels too stressful. For like $15, you're getting hundreds of hours of pure chill. That's unbeatable value. Celeste is a game about climbing a mountain, but really, it's about pushing through your own limits. You're Madeline, dealing with anxiety and self-doubt. and the game's story tackles mental health in a way that's genuine and thoughtful. The platforming itself is pure precision. Every jump, dash, and wall climb is pixel perfect, and the difficulty ramps up in a way that teaches you without holding your hand. The later chapters get genuinely hard. You're navigating screens with split-second timing, and one mistake means starting the room over. But the checkpoints are generous, deaths don't feel punishing, and when you finally nail a sequence you've been stuck on, it feels incredible. The B-sides and C-sides are borderline masochistic, but if you're into that challenge, they're there, waiting. The soundtrack is phenomenal. Lena Raine's score matches every emotional beat perfectly. Frantic during intense platforming sections, somber during introspective moments. The pixel art is vibrant and expressive, and the whole package just feels polished in a way that bigger studios often miss. For the price, you're getting a complete experience with heart, challenge, and a story that actually means something. Dead Cells is the roguelike that respects your time while still making you earn every inch of progress. You're this sentient blob of cells piloting a headless corpse through a constantly shifting castle. And the movement is so smooth that just navigating levels feels good. You're rolling through attacks, wall jumping between platforms, and chaining kills without ever stopping. The weapon variety keeps it fresh. You've got swords, whips, shields, bows, turrets, grenades, and every run lets you build differently. Find a legendary electric whip, your whole run becomes about chaining shock damage. Get a heavy crossbow and some traps, now you're playing defensively. The game rewards experimentation, and the randomization means you can't just memorize a path, you adapt or die. The difficulty is brutal, but never feels cheap. You're unlocking permanent upgrades between runs, new weapons, mutations, health flask charges, so even when you fail, you're progressing. The boss fights are intense. The Hand of the King will humble you the first time, and the DLC bosses are even worse. But when you finally get that perfect run and make it to the end, the dopamine hit is real. Easily one of the best action roguelikes ever made. Hollow Knight is a masterclass in world design and atmosphere. You're dropped into Hallownest, this massive underground kingdom with almost zero guidance. The map system makes you work for it. You find the cartographer in each area, buy the incomplete map, then fill it in yourself by exploring. It sounds tedious, but it creates this incredible sense of discovery where every new area feels earned. The combat is tight and deliberate. You've got your nail for melee, spells for range, and a charm system that lets you customize your playstyle completely. Boss fights are brutal but fair. Hornet keeps you on your toes with her speed, Mantis Lords demand perfect timing, and the endgame bosses are legitimately some of the hardest in any game. When you finally beat them, it's not luck, it's skill you've built through repetition. The atmosphere is hauntingly beautiful. The music is melancholic and ambient, the environments shift from fungal wastelands to crystal caverns to this decaying city, and the whole thing has this lonely, tragic vibe that stays with you. For like $15, you're getting 60 plus hours of content. That's insane value, and the quality never dips. This is essential. Hades is the roguelike that made roguelike haters finally get it. You're Zagreus, trying to escape the underworld, and every run is different. New weapon modifiers, different god boons, randomized rooms, but here's the genius part. Death isn't frustrating. Every time you die, you're back in the House of Hades talking to fully voice-acted characters who react to what you just did. The story progresses through failure, so losing actually feels like winning. The combat is stupid fast and satisfying. You're dashing through enemy swarms, chaining abilities, and when you get a god combo that synergizes perfectly, you feel unstoppable. Ares and Artemis together, you're applying doom and critting constantly. Zeus and Poseidon, lightning chains into knockback waves. The build variety is endless, and every run teaches you something new. The voice acting and music are legitimately incredible for an indie game. Darren Korb's soundtrack shifts between intense combat tracks and these hauntingly beautiful underworld melodies. Supergiant poured everything into this, and it shows. You'll beat the game once and immediately start another run because it's that addictive. For the price, this is hundreds of hours of content that never feels stale. So there's the list. 19 indie games that prove you don't need a $100 million budget to make something incredible. These are the games made by small teams with vision, passion, and respect for your time and money. I'm sure I missed some of your favorites. There are so many great indie games out there that narrowing it down to 19 was genuinely tough. Drop your picks in the comments. Maybe I overlooked something that deserves to be here, and honestly, I'm always down to discover the next hidden gem. And yeah, I know this video probably just added another 20 games to your backlog. My library is a graveyard of I'll get to it eventually titles. But if this helped you find even one game that clicks with you, that's a win. If you found this useful, hit the like button and subscribe. I'm just out here trying to help you find games that are actually worth your money, instead of the overhyped nonsense that gaming media won't stop shoving down your throat. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.